Kurse was good.
What's good, brother? How are you?
Man, it's been a minute.
It has been, man.
It's
Years,
been
bro.
a minute. It's been a strong minute.
Yeah, for real. It's crazy, man. The
Right,
last
because
time, what was it?
2016, 17?
Oh, man. My time flies, man.
It did. And the level of question that people want to know is, where the fuck you been at?
Oh, man. There was a few years, man, a hiatus, man. I kind of took a little bit of a break. I continued to make music, make beats always, man. But
Right.
I took a little bit of a break, man. I had some artists that I was working with that kind of some snaky shit. I don't need to get into names or anything like that, but just
cool.
it was just it wasn't conducive to growth. So I was just like, I'm gonna take a little bit of a break. But then again, I kept nurturing my craft and then like honing my craft. So I didn't really. Now I'm on a tear. Now I'm kind of.
Oh, you back. You got to terrorize shit.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%, man.
Yeah, because I remember like I was just talking to my man, Mr. Ripley. I was like, yo, I got Kurse. I said, I remember Kurse. I ain't heard him in a minute. I'm like, yo, what's crazy is because you commented on somebody's page. That's how I see you. I was like, oh, I remember Kurse. And I hit your page and I was like, oh, I gotta get him up here. This one of the dudes you have boombaptism.com.
Mm-hmm.
You know
yeah, man. Oh, of course, man.
Oh.
I mean, you took me back, man, because I mean, you were one of the first to kind of give me a shot and just kind of just rock with me and give me an interview and shit. So like, I mean, yeah, no, I'm humbled, man, and like this is always a dope interaction, and it's one of these things where like my I don't know, man. I took a break. My hiatus was weird because it was just one of these things where I was. I also wasn't in the right headspace too. Like I was always making music, but I was just like I didn't want to like put out projects, do nothing because life is just life gets crazy, man.
So let's take it back like we never met. All right. So when you first started making beats, what was your first piece of equipment that you started with?
Oh man, I would say like maybe like a laptop, man. Like I didn't really have much gear. Like I had like maybe like an MPD, like an Akai product, like a MIDI controller, something like that. I didn't really rock with like MPs or SPs and shit like that. I always was like enamored by them, but that's what I rock with, just like simple laptop shit. And I used Reason. That's off rip. I've used Reason. You know, now I found it like Battle Cat and all these guys use Reason, like, you know what I mean? But it's like, yeah, that's my shit.
Right. So was it because of financial issues or is just that's what you had access to?
Yeah, it's interesting, man. Like, I think it was kind of like, yeah, exactly. It was kind of like it's financial and it's access, and it's kind of like the homies were rocking on like Fruity Loops or, you know, doing this type of thing. And I think this is when like DAWs were like Lex Luger and like all these guys were coming up with like Fruity Loops and shit. So I think for me, I still was able to like rock with homies that used samplers, used hardware. But for me, I was just on that cusp where I was able to like be like Ninth Wonder and shit like that and start fucking with DAWs and like in a different type of way. And I use a turntable and sample records. But I just throw it into the laptop, man, and then I chop shit up. So yeah, it was a bit of both, man. I think it was like I was maybe 15, 16 when I started making music and beats and shit. So yeah, man.
Right. Cool. So what are you using now?
Now I'm using the SP404, the Mark II.
Now you said SP4. Is that the Roland?
Yeah, the Roland joint. Yeah.
So hold that thought. So what made you go from all this software to now this? Because it's a box, right?
It is, man, and it's an effects module. It's a sound card. It's a whole bunch of different functions. It's easy to just sample into, use it as an interface. So like for me, it's like a multifaceted thing. I have barely even tapped into like using it as a drum machine, like an actual beat machine, which is even then, which is like I can't wait to get into. It's a new challenge. So
Right, because
But
one thing I heard about that SP,
mm,
that Roland, like they say the SP303 was a very hard machine to really make beats on. You had to really
oh,
learn that shit.
Joe was a fucking god with that shit. Is DiBiase.
Right, and
DiBiase's a god.
Madlib,
Madlib, a god.
Madlib as well. Right,
Absolutely, man.
I heard
Yeah,
that
yeah.
was a really hard machine to really learn how to
Oh,
make beats
yeah.
on.
The programming on it is like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know how those guys like. Shouts
Mhm.
out to anybody who can make that shit work, man. It's incredible.
Yeah. So now you with the 404. So is the workflow easier from what you did in the past, or a little harder?
Oh, it's easier. It's all the stuff like. Plus, I'm using the new MacBook Air, so
Okay.
like that workflow is easy. I'm still using Reason, but now I can use Reason. I can record into Reason. I
Uh-huh.
can do. It's multifaceted. So now I can do all types of shit I couldn't
Mhm.
do before.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So let me ask you something. What made you know that it was time to upgrade? Did you, I mean,
It was just, you know what? It was like I had some dough, and I knew kind of what I wanted to get into,
mhm.
because I'm really not a I don't know the Akai lineage like other people do.
Right,
Like a Lord Finesse or something like that, where he
right,
knows like the NPC 60, he knows all these
right.
lineages. I'm not. I never professed to be any. You know what I mean? So like I
Right.
just kind of know what I know, and like yeah, I just kind of know that machine has infinite capacity,
Mhm.
and it's something that I can grow with. And they
Right,
just dropped a new update, so like they're just gonna give me more and more options
right,
to loop and to do different things. So
right. So let me ask you a
yeah,
question. Because we're sampling,
correct.
do you think we really need all this high technology
We
equipment
don't.
today?
No, we do.
So
We
let me ask you a
no,
question. So
we don't.
I can be a relevant producer today with an SB12,
Mm-hmm.
an ASR 10, or an MPC
100%.
2000 XL.
100%. I
You
think
feel
Lewis
that
Parker does it the best. Lewis Parker's like Dan with the Fudge Monk does it as well.
way? Right,
Like I think he has like his sound, and then he just can run it through he can run it through a new interface like an Apogee, or like some of
right,
these really like expensive interfaces. So the sound quality is there. It's more of a low fidelity kind of sound. I don't like the lo-fi stuff, but like it's just boom. It's just old school. Like it's just
right.
boom bap shit. It's warm analog
Mhm.
machines creating a
However,
crisp sound. Right?
let me say this. However, now I was on the MPC 2000 XL for over 20 years.
Incredible,
All right.
incredible.
So then my brother Divine put me on to the MPC studio.
Mm-hmm.
And 2019, 2020, the silver box.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized it was very easier to send beats,
Mm-hmm.
because nowadays the music is made so quickly. It's really
Oh,
it's
is it ever?
manufactured. Like even now, back last we taught, music is made like
Oh, it's insane, man.
it's
Yeah,
insane now. Like you
yeah.
have to keep pumping out beats.
Mm-hmm.
Rhymers have to rhymes. It's just
It's
it's microwavable.
it is, and it's you know what it is. It's also like you're right, and it's also like just stimulus overload, even for a listener. I think it's like, and I think so many people get overshadowed because
Yeah,
there's just such an oversaturation.
right,
And people like ourselves will sit and work on one beat for an entire week sometimes. Maybe
right,
they'll layer different things, they'll add
right.
different records on top, they'll do different types of things that people just don't really take the time to do anymore. And you know what? I would rather things be simple and analog, because just like a good steak or something like that, it's like
Mhm.
it's less is more. You know what I mean? You get the steak, you get the
Right,
potatoes.
right,
It's like
right, right,
I
right.
don't need some of the best things in life are simple. So you know what I mean? It's like if I have a
Indeed,
simple beat
indeed.
too, it's like sometimes those things are great. You know, like a Derringer kind of loop or like a
Right.
little kind of thing like that. They're beautiful, but Craven's good with that. You know what I mean? But I think it's just about the craft.
Right.
Me and
Well,
Vanderslice feel the same way about that too. Like we were just talking with this today. I don't want to make music with people that just want to kind of do quick business, and they just want to kind of nothing really sounds as organic as it does if it's Pete Rock and See How Smooth. If it's an organic, they're
right,
brothers from the beginning, and they
right,
work all the way up to like, you know what I mean? I
Right,
think
right,
it's building a foundation. For me, that's what I'm looking for, and more I look like, you know, Supreme Cerebral, homies of mine, like Noah the Flood, all these guys, like these guys I rock with in the beginning. You know, that's what I'm looking to kind of continue to
right,
work with.
right.
Obviously, opportunities come up, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I agree with you because that's how I came up. Like, you know, I made beats and I was that one producer for this guy. We built our sound together. And I'm with that. And it's been hard for me to just give you a beat and give this person a beat here and there. I never wanted to be that beat maker like that. You know, I wanted that dude that we grinded from the bottom to the top with, you know?
love that. Yeah, man.
I really love that. So since you've been gone, have you seen any changes, like even in your beat making that you had to adjust to?
I think honestly, man, like the approach for the beats these days, because it's more like it's interesting. It's kind of like Master Art. Master A said that, what was it, Disposable Arts
Right.
album. It's like that's what this is now. It's like he
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
like
It's just so fast.
it's prophetic, man. He's a prophet in the sense of like, man, he already dictated. He already knew it was gonna happen, man.
Right,
He
right.
could see where it was heading.
Yo, you know
It's
what's
crazy, man.
crazy? Because I came up with a drum pattern, and this today, and it's like 3 days ago. I'm still haven't made a beat yet. I'm still going through samples.
Yeah, man.
I'm not just taking something and, you know what I mean? I'm still going through. I have not made a beat in 3 days. I still got this drum pattern that I made rocking, and I still have not found a sample yet. I'm taking because you know I don't just sample anything. It has to move me. I have to
Absolutely,
feel
man.
it. You feel me?
Absolutely, man.
And
It
I'm
has
just
to
playing
fit.
it. It's like even today, I'm early, I'm late, I'm it's rocking. I play a drum. It's good, but that's not it. That's not it. Go
That's
into
it, man.
another sample. It's not it. You know what I mean?
It has to be.
Right,
It
right.
has to be
So
this way. In my opinion, it has to be this way because the particulars of the way that you do things is your artistry. It's the way what you're selecting. It takes a certain mind. It's like the like all the like selectors and like, you know, all the
right,
like Jamaican dance halls, which is like
right,
the,
right,
the top selector, man. Like that's it. Like
right,
he wins out of everybody.
right,
There's
right,
no,
right,
your sound, the time you're taking to put together these blends and doing all these things, it's like you just won the party over, man. Like
right,
that's the
right,
whole idea. If what
right,
you're
right.
doing, it's a solo party, and you're the
Indeed,
only
right.
one there.
By
But that's the
myself.
thing is, but you're building slowly over time, man. And like that's all the people before us, the large pros of all these guys. This is what they do, man. That's
Right.
what we do.
Right, right,
That's I
right,
think
right,
it's
right, right, right. Exactly, because we come from that era where you had to be patient and listen to put the needle to the and sit there and listen. Sometimes clean the
oh,
house, wash
absolutely,
the
man.
windows, wash the car, and listen.
Absolutely,
Oh,
man.
stop!
Yeah, man.
You might be spraying the car. Oh, drop that and run to the with that part you heard. You know
Oh,
what I mean? Like,
it's
oh, hold up and stop. You know what I
there's
mean? You
something
might be
about it.
vacuuming. You might be, spraying down the toilet. Oh, stop everything, run to the machine and start fucking with it.
It's crazy. Yeah, man. There's something about that, and it's about building blocks, brick by brick, and piecing those things together, and then you
Right.
create this whole soundscape. And I
Right.
think that that's lacking now, because
Right.
now this is why if I'm gonna find some, some little break, and there's some, some little drums in it,
Right.
but it's super simple. Like that seems to be also what's happening now, is like super drumlet, like super kind of simple drumless loops,
Mm-hmm.
little kind of things like that, little moments, little things, which I think is great. You find those
Right.
little
Right.
things on a
Right.
needle. I
Indeed.
love
I'm
that.
not mad at it. Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. It's from the off
Right.
rip. That's always been hip hop to me. But now I think it's like people aren't even adding their own little sounds or
Twist. Yeah.
little
The little twist.
things.
Right.
There's nothing kind of really there. Or you can just have a crazy ass loop, and it's just
That's it.
you knock shit out the park. Because like that's my approach, is like I don't want to be throwing jabs and throwing. It's like I'm just gonna hit him hard enough the first time. You know what I mean? I'm not.
Right.
That's my approach to it. Like, I'm just gonna sit just like yourself, and it's until I find that it's like that's fire. That like little 2-bar loop. That's
Right,
fire.
right. That's cool. Right.
But I'm gonna find something way better, and that's the whole idea, man. That's the like Alchemist was talking about this the other day. Like I was watching something about it, like in Amsterdam or some shit. And he's like, the whole idea is that I'm looking for a sample that doesn't exist. I'm looking for the greatest sample to ever be heard. It's obviously it's an impossible venture, but you go on that adventure anyways. You do it because that's our pursuit. That's what we do. So.
Now, do you believe when he said that we're on the last wave of this?
Mm-hmm.
Remember when he said that we're on the last? Do you think this is coming to an end?
I think in some respects, because now you have like all the Serato stuff, all the stems, all this like kind of stuff where like imagine we could like just strip down drum breaks that we found some empty breaks. Like, no, man,
we do that back then.
Yeah, it's now it's like no holds barred, whatever you want. Oh, like I think right now it's getting to the point where there's like also composed samples. There's like all types of stuff. So I think the digging is going away.
Right.
And I think the YouTube and all these other things, the Spotify, like these are like sample sources, which is okay. Right. But I do agree to an extent that it's like I think we are the dying breed.
We are.
And and that's you know what? That's okay.
You know, and it was crazy though, because it's like, how do you feel about these guys who are only making beats for a year and getting placements? And it's like, is it because we made it, each generation makes it easier for the next?
I think so. I think also this kind of digitized era with all these social networks and things. Like I remember like the homies, a couple of homies skateboarding and doing this and yo, check this out, blah, 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 blah. But they were self-taught. They just sat there and like they just worked on the shit.
Right.
You don't, there was no YouTube or like anything. Now I think that actually has created like a growth curve that's like quicker, more rapid. Like our nieces, our nephews, our sons and daughters, like we're noticing these kids are picking up the iPad. They're already like ripping on it. Like they already know what they're doing. It's crazy.
Like it's nothing.
I don't know. I didn't know.
And I had to rack my brain to make beats on that MPC 2000 XL.
Straight up, man.
That shit was hard for me.
Now
I really had to work at it.
Absolutely. All the programming, everything. I can only imagine like another machine that's been daunting. I don't know if you've ever played around with it, but it's the ASR 10. Like I had
the EPS 16 plus before that.
Oh, that's amazing, man. That's crazy.
You know what I mean?
Bro.
And that shit was like, how do you do this? Because you know what I mean? You know what I mean?
But it's even more mystifying when you're able to like crack the code on the motherfucker and you hone in on it, and then all of a sudden like you're a J1 or someone like that who's just an absolute monster with it. So
you know what I mean? So right now, this stage of your game, are you still digging in the crates or not?
100%. 100%.
You're still going to record stores?
All the time. As much as I can. Absolutely.
As much as you can. You're still spending that money on records.
Absolutely, man.
As quick as this game is moving, you're still digging, getting your fingers dusty.
Absolutely. And I'm finding things that people aren't finding. So it's like, or they're not using. So much like yourself.
Do you think that's detrimental to your career now, how fast the underground is moving as far as beats being made?
I think it is to a degree, but I think like you'll have like if I'm able to, with a less is more approach, put things out, and I'm able to captivate a certain audience and a growth rate, then like I think as long as I'm putting out something that I'm proud of and I can stamp, then I think it's good. Because I think sometimes when you look at certain albums and the effort that went into them, I was thinking about like Alchemist, Chemical Warfare. I remember he's like, I got the Nina Sky verse, I got the this, I got the that. He's like, I thought I had to go and do all this. It wasn't what he wanted it to be. It didn't make the impact that he did. I think sometimes if you put things out, and that's I think now the approach is just to knock shit out, because me and you are better than the average bear because we've had to be patient to learn the craft. That's why it's
Yo,
almost objectively the truth.
right. Do you know how many times I had to cut the machine off, get up, take a walk around the block, come back, cut the machine on, put the sample back on, nah, that ain't it. Go for another walk.
Oh,
All right, let me go to work, come back home, let's try this again.
mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? This shit wasn't easy for me. I won't lie, it wasn't easy.
Mm-hmm.
And nowadays it's like you got dudes that just buy a machine today.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I got my placement with so and so.
Oh, crazy. Oh, absolutely.
You know, it's just crazy. So you're actually out there beat digging even today.
Always, man. Yeah.
So,
Anytime I can get downtown, or I'm anywhere, I'm digging, man. I just pulled like a couple library records out of a flea market the other day.
Right. So all your beats are still strictly on vinyl?
A mix, man. I grab a lot of things off of different sources, like sample sources, like movies and things like that. But like generally, yeah, most of it's just wax, man. Yeah.
Right. So no sample packs.
On occasion, I just sent something to Water. One of them had a sample, a composed joint on it.
Right.
That's it, and it was a Beat Butcher joint.
Okay,
that's it. That was it. But I find that fun because especially the homies when they send me shit, you know what I mean. Rob Victim and guys like that.
Victim, yeah, he's on this season too.
So fantastic, man. He's a great dude, man, and a talented one at that. So
Rob Victim.
Oh man, he's the man, and he's a humble guy, and yeah, man, he's crazy on the compositions, man, crazy on the beats too.
Right. So drums, where you getting the drums from nowadays? Has that changed from we last talked?
Drums, man. Honestly, I get a mix. I get drum packs. I get I chop my own. I honestly just go down to the homies downtown in Cosmo Music,
right?
On Queen Street West there, man. It's no secret. They just got stashes of Japanese like drum breaks,
right?
You know those like drum records with like the girl in the bikini on them.
Yeah.
So I'll just rip through, find some like whatever, especially some fills. Things like that. Oh yeah, man.
Now let me ask you a question: are you opposed to just looping a drum break?
I'm opposed to anything that, like, you know what? I'm not opposed to anything as long as it sounds good, man. Like and something that's original, that it hasn't been recycled, that we haven't heard over and over and over again. Because that's, I think, what happens is people think there's like this pool of records that have to be used over. No. There's such a widespread. People are sticking with like, all right, soul records, but it's like, or jazz records from the States, but there's Polish jazz records and there's Scandinavian jazz. Like, what do you? I think people aren't really getting that, and once they realize that they open their mind to the idea that it's like this shit's the world, and you can not just go outside of your town. You know what I mean? It's like
So do you dig online?
Yeah, because sometimes.
Because you got to think about it, like like me, like I was with the turntables and sampling, but I don't have enough room. So then it's like I started digging online. And whatnot. Great idea. It's like, do you still dig online, or are you just still? I mean, where do you house these records at?
Yeah, what I do is sometimes I'm buying off of like the marketplace on Discogs.
Right.
So sometimes I'll do things like that. I'll find something that I need, a library record or whatever. I don't really fucks with eBay. That got pricey.
Right.
But I remember when like Stu and Slice were like selling records back in the day. Like
I remember them. Yeah, they were doing their
thing on that, man.
They were doing their thing. Yeah.
So hotcakes, man.
So are you digging on YouTube?
Oh, of course, man. Like if I find like some like a channel or something like that, because I'm always just finding music just to listen to.
Right.
I'm an eclectic. I listen to every genre, man. Like you know what I mean. So damn near. So except maybe like polka or something like that. You know what I mean. But there's not too many things I'm not listening to. So I think in that sense, I'm always just trying to find new music. And
Right.
I've also found shit where I'm like, yo, this is fire, but like, this isn't even for me. Like,
Mm.
this is just for me to listen to.
Right.
Like,
Right.
I don't
Right.
know. I don't know if that makes any sense, but
Yeah,
like,
it makes a lot of sense because you got to know what. So, like, how do you know when to chop that sample and when to loop it?
mm,
Because you can fuck up a good groove by chopping all the
I
time.
agree. I agree. I think some people over chop, and I do think that
Right.
there's some sort of like the right approach, like hmm, trying to think of like someone who's good at that, like a real simple loop, but like Clipto or like something like that. Like,
Yeah, I love Crypto. Oh, you know Crypto. I love Crypto.
oh, of course, man. Yo, that's the homie, man. We've been rocking since the
I
jump,
love
man.
Crypto. That's my man.
He's a great guy, man, and
Great
like
guy.
and a talented one too. And
Yeah.
he's got that locked.
Yeah, and he's the originator. Him,
Hmm.
Nicholas Craven, and Historian.
Hmm.
You
Hmm.
mean, are you familiar with Historian?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely, man.
those three, they're
Hmm.
originators of that looping shit.
Oh, absolutely, man. And like I got a couple joints. Remember, like Hockey Mask and a couple joints like that. And like those were straight up loops. You know what I mean? And like
Right,
but it's crazy. Like Clipto always had that locked, and like
right,
the
right,
soul
right,
loops and shit. Yeah,
right,
crazy.
right.
But see,
Yeah,
but this is the thing. You were just asking, like sometimes when do you know how to chop? And when
right,
he knows what to do and what not to do. And I
right,
think it's just there's an artistic discretion that you
right,
have to have. That's I think that we all have that.
right. Because I know when you were around, it was you and D-Mall was killing shit.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
With D-Mall, right? You and D-Mall was killing shit.
Hmm.
This had to been 2000, what, 16, 17?
Yeah, 2016, 17.
I remember that shit you had with
With F or something or
who was it? Noah the Flood. That shit, yo.
oh yeah, yeah,
Doing
yeah.
the flood. Then you kept teasing us with Free Enterprise.
Yeah, yeah, Free
I'm like,
Enterprise.
yo, drop this shit already. Drop this shit. That shit was fire.
Thank you, man. And like, and I actually
Woo!
put that out on Spotify and all the DSPs now. So like now
That
people,
shit was
because that's something too, man. I realized I dropped the ball, man. Because like I think even when I was on my hiatus, I didn't release any of my shit on
right.
these DSPs. So like people would go check on me, check for me,
Right.
nothing there. So I did my due diligence and
Ooh,
got my shit
that
up there.
shit was
So
fire. You know what I
thank
mean?
you,
Are you
man.
still working with Flood and them? Or are you
Yo, Floodman, honestly, I haven't sent him a pack in a while, man. But like, yeah, I haven't worked with him in a while,
or
man. I know.
Supreme Cerebral?
Yo, I just sent him a pack like the other day, man. I think he was writing some shit to my like a joint I sent him. So like,
Right,
we
right,
might be cook. We're always there's always something cooking, but
right.
Noah, man, he's another guy who's just like his trajectory was just
Yeah,
crazy. Now
yeah. I
he's
remember
rocking
when
with
you got him.
Muggs. He's
You got him
rocking
when
with.
he was kind of like, and now
Mhm.
he's, you know what I
Oh,
mean?
absolutely. And you know what, man? You know what that is like that's like instead of being like a journeyman, he's like a champion. You know what I mean?
Right,
It's like there's a difference, and I think
right,
because some people you'll see them like they'll be right at they'll just grind right on the bottom the whole time. Hey, and they fight and they do what they
right,
need to
right,
do, but at the same time they're not doing what he's doing, and there's always a progression.
right.
You have to be moving up. So
Yeah, 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 yeah. So, do you see yourself actually progression from what you're using right now to make beats, or you're good right now?
I think right now I'm comfy, man. I think
Yeah,
I
you're
found
still
something like someone who finds like Jake Once, for example, was a perfect example. Right now, he still currently uses the ASR.
10.
Yeah,
The keyboard.
yeah, he still uses
Wow.
it. So you can check out all this like his snare Jordan stuff, man. Like
Right.
go on his YouTube. He does all the
Hmm.
like how he shows like the beat
Right.
tutorials and stuff like
Right.
that.
Right. Right.
Man, I mean, he still programs with that to this day. All the shit he knocks out with Wiz Khalifa, whatever. Like that's
Right.
ASR. That's ASR.
Wow.
So
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. Because I always thought that like to be a relevant producer that you had to like keep upgrading your equipment and
I
then
I'm with you, man. But that's, you know what? That's a lie being told. I think that's something that's like, also I think it's cool, like someone like a Rob Victim, he has so many pieces of hardware, and it's like he's a collector. He's an
right,
admirer of analog gear, which
right,
I really think is admirable. But for me, I'd rather have like a locked in formula for how I make my stuff comfortably,
right,
that I know the workflow. For example, just why Jake One uses the ASR
right,
still, why
right,
Al still uses
right.
the MPC 2500.
Well,
Same thing.
what would you say it's because we're still sampling records and just sampling?
Yes,
Because we're not
100%.
playing. You got to think about it, we're not playing original music.
Yeah,
Do you
yeah.
think that's why we still can exist in this form today?
I think so. I think we have we're chameleons. I think we can find records. If it was a faux pas to like sample like a '90s record,
Right,
you know, in the '90s, or like something weird, like it's just like you wouldn't do that. You'd have to sample something from the '60s, the '70s, the '80s.
right,
Like now, it's like I think everything's just open now, man. And I think
right,
now it's like people are tapping into, like, I remember seeing A-Rap Music. He like made a whole album out of like EDM samples,
right,
like it's
right.
like that. It's just it doesn't. And then now there's a whole market to tap
Yeah,
into. So I
right,
think right now, I think it's just it's
right.
open sesame, man.
And to me, you're right because what I see is like if you look at like the Pete Rocks,
Mm,
the Premier, especially like Premier, he would take a chop from here, and there.
oh
You
yeah.
know what I mean, and make a beat. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean, showing his skill as a beat maker, like, oh, I can take this and that. But
100%.
nowadays, it's more so you're showing your ear as a beat maker, where you
Yo,
find something, you can loop it. You just finding something that no one else heard, but you just loop it.
couldn't
You
have
know what
said
I
it
mean?
better myself. That I couldn't have said it better myself. Like that's exactly it, man.
Right. That's what we
100%
hear
nail on the
today.
head, man.
That's what we hear today. That's what we hear today. And
Yeah,
Rock
yeah,
Marciano was the king of that. Finding
100%.
shit that wasn't even supposed to be looped and making it a loop.
For sure. And even like awkward drum patterns, awkward
Right.
time signatures,
Right.
halftime shit,
Right.
whatever he's doing, he's on some other shit. Like I just posted like a beat the other day. Like I posted, and like I had it rock into it, and like I've seen a bunch of people, Ty Ferris,
Yeah.
Mussolini, they
Right.
liked it because they knew that would be fit for him. They would rap over it, but it's like
Right.
I know that guy's sound, man. His shit's
Right.
it's just
Right.
it's locked in,
And
man.
that's why he's winning because he did him.
Hundred
He
percent.
just did him.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
There's nothing wrong. Once again, there's always going to be these like naysayers,
Right.
and all the naysayers in the world never amounted to anything because they never tried and they never
Right.
made the efforts that these guys make. So what I
Right.
mean? Like I'm like speaking
Right.
of that, like Rock is coming to Toronto, man. So I'm gonna see him in a
Oh, you
matter of
going to the
weeks.
show? You going to the show?
Yeah, man. I'm gonna see if I can fucking somehow get some fucking joints to him.
You need to because you fire,
Mm-hmm.
man. You
Ah,
need to.
thanks, man.
You need to give him some fire, man. Because I was like, yo,
Oh,
where you? I was wondering where you was. I'm like, yo, I ain't
oh,
in a minute.
man. I now it's a matter of just networking, man. Networking, talking,
Good.
doing what we're
Good.
doing right now,
Yeah.
man. Just
Yeah.
communicating
Yeah.
and
Absolutely.
working, man.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So right now, as far as hip hop, are you working as far as working a job and doing this, or?
Oh yeah, for sure. But I still like I'm selling beats and
Mhm. So
I'm
let's talk about selling beats. Like you're selling beats, but
mhm,
because back in and if you know from the early
mhm,
90s, that era,
mhm.
you're not getting 20,000, 10,000 a beat no more.
Yeah, no.
That's just
And
fun.
what's incredible about that, and I love that era,
Right,
man. There's something beautiful about that. And it's because the labels provided these artists
right.
with
Budget.
millions of dollars
Right,
of budgets to create these albums with, you know, anything they needed. So like
right,
I think if I'm, let's say I'm Fat Joe and I got to pay 20K for Alchemist to give me a joint, they just gave me $1 million for my
right.
budget for my album. So what's that? It's like that's nothing, man. Like do
Right.
that. Like
But if Fat Joe can find someone who's just as fire as Alchemist in the hood,
mm-hmm.
pay him $5K.
I agree.
You know what I mean?
I agree.
So it's almost like with us. I think that era made a free for all for us.
I agree. But think about it this though, like this way, that there's something about it where like Joe's not using his own money.
Right.
He's using this is the thing. He's using the label's money. So when they're giving you 1.5 to make Lean Back and do all that, and like, yeah, man, he can rock with Scott Storch. He can do whatever he needs to do.
Right.
And he wasn't even spending any of his own money. Plus he got an advance.
Right.
So I think at that point, it was before the Napster era and all that. So I think after that, the Napsters and all that shit, them shits fucking destroyed the whole kind of like tangible mediums, buying records, people having, going diamond or going platinum, but the platinum sales are based off physical sales of people going out of their homes and buying it, which I think today it's not represented well with streams. I think streams are diluted. I think these companies are taking advantage of me and you.
Of course. So do you think that people like me and you, independent beat makers, can really make money in this era that's underground like we do sampling?
I think we have to be more lucrative in business. Like I think we have to sell hoodies. We have to do this, we have to do that. We have to have a multitude of different disciplines in order to, like, you know what I mean? It would be like Frank Sinatra or like something like that. He's back in the day. You're dancing, you're whistling, you're acting, you're singing, you're doing the whole thing. You know what I mean? It's like,
well, unless you get with a Griselda,
100%. Unless you get that break, and the only reason, and obviously, Darren's is like, he's done his thing, but it's like the whole thing with like Westside getting out of prison and just going like, yo, man, hit him up. He's just like, yo, ready to rock. Like that opportunity, that's random. It's just where they live.
Right, and it wasn't guaranteed that Westside Gun would do what he did.
No, but of course, like Darren's just gonna take that shot, because just like when Primo met Guru and he's like, there's something about Guru. He's just like, there's something about this guy and his voice, man. It's like his voice is unreal. Like, and then of course Guru made that song. Well, the voice, and it's just like there's something about, like, it's obviously something caught his ear, and they were also cool outside the studio too, and like. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's just different now, man. It's different now. I don't know. I don't think there's too many of those situations where you're just getting these organic, kind of like come ups like that, like a DJ Polo and a KGR. Or like I don't know, man.
Back then, it was like that.
Yeah, 100%.
Back then, you know what I mean? And even today, it's like with me. I want someone I can touch. I can touch you. You're right here. I never really like sending beats because as a producer, tell you this is a chick song, but they'll send you something and some gangster shit. And I'm like, yo, this is supposed to be a chick joint.
Yeah.
You're supposed to say it like this, not like that. You know what I mean?
Tough.
Have you had that?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. There's a lot of like, I've been, I guess, blessed and thankful that I don't have some of these situations where people are kind of not receptive to what I'm sending and this and that. But like, I'm trying to like Frankenstein shit with people. That's the thing. That's the way I look at it. All the like sending beats and this and that. It's like, and then you're Frankensteining the whole shit and piecing it all together. It's like, there's something beautiful about sitting beside, it's just two artists in a studio and they're just making
experimenting.
Yeah, there's something, and then that's something that's going away, man. I don't know if that's
I think the internet changed a lot of that. It's like you send beats, they send back the work.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing now.
I would say as beat makers, we're artists too, because we have in mind what this beat is for. This is a female song.
Yes,
you come in on this part. This is the hook.
Yeah, 100%.
You had it. People rhyme over the hook.
Yeah.
rhyme over this, and it's like, no, you
People
supposed to,
don't know what they're doing.
even the shit is dope. It might be dope though, right? But it's like,
Fair enough.
nah,
Fair
it's
enough.
not.
But
It's not. You know what I mean? Yeah,
yeah,
I'm sorry.
yeah, no, and that's. I think you're right, man. And I think this is where like, rather than me and you being beat makers, we're also producers because we
Right,
understand song structure,
right,
verse, hook, verse, maybe a bridge
right,
back into the hook. Yeah, these things are. This is song structure. This is cadence. This is all these things. And Plagal, what I learned when I was in engineering school, is like a Plagal format, which is like a
right,
simple loop.
right,
Because if we were to be going Arab music and switching the drums and things just going sporadic all the time, it would take away from what the rapper's doing. And the
right.
rapper would also go like, I can't really catch this shit. Like I can't really, just things are all over the place. So there's a reason for that. That's why less is more. Like when me and you find that loop off that jazz record or something like that, and if the shit hits, it hits because it hits, man. You have an ear for it.
That's it. That's it. That's it. That's
Can't
it.
teach it. Yeah,
That
it's
you can't teach you know, because when we're sample based, it's all about ear, not formal classical training or whatever. You know,
absolutely, yeah, because it's all from trial and error. This is all we do
that's
is
all it is. If it
take
works,
other
don't work.
things.
Something else.
Absolutely, taking things. Also, was crazy too is like a Lord Finesse. He would take like a horn or something, and then he'd like detune this shit,
Right.
and then like make, and then he'd like put it up. Man, he was ahead of his time with that stuff, man. He just
Yeah.
making virtually like one sound an entire orchestra. You know what I mean? In a
Right.
way,
Right. Yeah.
crazy.
So let me ask you a question. What is your weakness when it comes to making beats?
I would say, striving for it to sound perfect, to sound, because you're constantly just going like flipping through snares or
Right.
whatever. Because it's just like this, just it just doesn't. That's my problem. Is
Right.
being too nitpicky.
With me, it's like bass lines.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Bass lines are tough.
Bass lines is one of mine. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's, you know, like it's just hard for me. Like bass lines. A lot of my beats don't have bass lines in it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
That
bass lines are interesting.
you know what I mean? I would say bass lines. You
Mm-hmm.
know, things like that. And
I agree.
I ask you this: how do you know when the beat is done?
Mm-hmm. This is a part of, I think, my issue is like, I think I know when it's done now, especially my age now where I'm at, is like I know it's done when, like, for example, I have a joint and like I know, I'm like, I know this joint's 2 minutes. I know because like the way that this loops,
Right.
it's not going to titillate the ear
Right.
for 4 or 5 minutes.
Right.
It's done. It's dead in the water.
Right.
People just skip to the next song, go to the next Spotify
Right.
playlist thing. They're not going to listen to it. So I think, like, for me, I just know in my head, like, this is going to go this way. It's going to have two verses. It's going to have two hook. You're going to repeat.
Right.
It's going to be 2
But
minutes.
then does every beat have to have that?
No, not at all. Sometimes I'll have like
It's just a continuous.
yeah. Sometimes I'll have like an 8-bar fucking loop. Sometimes I'll have like a weird, like something like that, man. And sometimes it's just an interlude. Sometimes I make things into interludes.
Right.
So,
And the artists have to be creative within themselves to make that work.
yeah, I think so.
And that has every time you have to tell them, no, this is it. I'm not changing shit.
100%. 100%,
No,
man.
this is what I did.
Yeah.
You have to be like, yo, no, I'm not
Mhm.
doing that. I'm not changing the speed.
Yeah.
I'm not changing the horn. This is what it is.
I've done that a few times, and sometimes I'll accommodate because it might be like a simple song structure thing. Like they want the hook sample to be the verse
Right.
and flipped. So it's like I can accommodate. Like that sounds fine if it sounds
Right.
dope to me. Like that works.
Right.
But most of the time, man, this I treat this shit like a fucking restaurant. It's like I'm the fucking chef.
Right.
What I cook,
If you don't like it, go to another restaurant.
Say again?
If you don't like it, go to another restaurant.
100%.
You know what I mean? Right, exactly. That's how I feel. Like, this is what
Hmm.
I cooked up because
Bang on, man.
it's like we're artists too.
Absolutely.
We're drawing shit up too, and it's like I've heard people say, "Yo, slow that down." Nah,
Nah,
no,
I'm not slowing it down. No.
This is what this is. It is. If you can't rock with it, it's just not for you.
Straight up, and this is why I don't like when that person will kind of, you have a bunch of people very receptive to something you just put out, and then you'll see some, yo, the snare on that or whatever. It's because these people they don't have the ear that we have,
Right.
and to make the decision too. They don't have the balls to like make the artistic decision to go, yeah, I know that snare fucking knocks because it's just that's hitting me
Right.
in the chest. Like that shit just knocks me. Like, let's go. Like you
Right.
just move.
And
It already sounds dope. Like there's a reason why Primo has like his certain sound, or because he knows how it's supposed to. He knows how it's supposed to sound.
Right.
Period.
So yeah, we have to stick to our guns.
Absolutely, that's what it is, man.
We have to stick
Absolutely, and
to
it's
our
high
guns.
noon, man. So you you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I'm sticking to my guns. You know what I mean? What they call it old or whatever. I'm just
Whatever.
sticking to my guns. This is what I do.
Yeah, and like that's the
This
thing, man. People are,
is what I
you
do.
know, yeah, and that's I think you can kind of relate it. If it's artillery, it's like people got all you can have all your bells and whistles on there. It's like,
All
but
right.
the six shooter still works, man. You know what I mean?
Sure you know. So
Mhm.
let's get into the business of selling beats. You're
Mhm.
still, even though we haven't heard from you, still selling beats, right?
Yeah, absolutely, man. I'm selling joints whenever I can, man. I'm just inquiries here and there. So yeah,
Right. Now you're in Toronto?
I'm in Toronto, brother. Yeah,
Toronto. Right.
Mhm.
Marco Polo, Toronto,
Marco Polo,
and
absolutely,
all that. Yeah. I
Moss.
know he's
Yeah, man.
one of the big ones
Hmm.
out of that area or whatever.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, man.
when you're selling beats, are you giving them stems or are you selling it straight up?
I'm doing, yeah. Oh, absolutely. Like I only do like exclusives. I don't do like leasing or anything like that.
Right.
So I'll just sell them. Like I give them the beat and then I give them the stems as well because I want them
Okay.
to be able to make sure the recording sounds
Right.
proper.
Now, when you
Yeah.
giving the stems,
Mm-hmm.
can they fuck up your beat
Mm-hmm. Well,
without
that's
being
the
the
thing.
mixing session?
There's certain things before. So when I send out and I
Mhm.
like uh I export all my stems.
Mhm.
I before I think, well, no, I would say after the effects and the
Mhm.
EQs is when so all my little
Right.
all the pots and all the things are turned and knobs are turned the way I want
Right.
it to a
Right.
certain extent, and then I'll let them be able to mix levels and things like that. But the actual like quality, the sonic
Right.
sound
Right.
is what I'll still like put that in there where they can't change it
Mm.
unless we completely are communicating. And if I'm sitting down with Scott Stallone or someone like that who's paying like $400 a track to mix or something like that, it's like I'll fucking fly out there and just fucking sit with them. You know what I mean? Like it's like
Right.
just like what you were saying. It's like if I'm gonna make music, I want to sit down with the person and make it and create a foundation
Mhm.
and communicate with this individual and then build something. So yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I guess that's what I was wondering. Like, how does that work or whatever? You know what I mean?
Fair enough, man.
Things like that. So when you like, so people buy a beat, they're not just buying it they're not going to two track it from you.
No, man. Like for like any like I remember like Banish Habitual from San Diego,
I'm a
man.
piece to banish habitual.
Yeah, man. Like I remember he hit me up. He wanted to join, and he's just like, how much, man? Gave him the price, boom, and
Yeah.
he's great business, man. I sent him the stems, I sent him the beat because I don't
Right.
want them to. It's one of these things, man. It's like you go into Best Buy, I get you got two kids at home, but you got the one. It only comes with the one controller. It's like you just gonna have to go back and get the
Right.
controller. It's like
Right.
get it all, just do it all right the first time, and then you don't have to do it again. So I'm gonna send them the
Right.
stems. I'm gonna do my shit professionally, and I sometimes I'll even if they want like they'll shoot the PayPal shit. I send a receipt with the
Mm-hmm.
beat name
Wow.
on it so that like
Mm-hmm.
there's no
Wow.
discrepancies, man.
Right. Are there artists who just want the beat as is and they don't want stems?
Absolutely, 100%, man. Yeah, 100%. Because a lot of times, just like me and you were talking about our artistic discretion, they hear what you're trying to do. They
Right,
understand what you're.
right,
Yeah, this thing is 2 minutes for a reason. Like
right,
it
right.
fades
Because
out the way it's
sometimes,
supposed to fade out. Yeah.
I notice with stems, the beat don't sound right once you start fucking with it.
Yeah, and you know what? What happens is I think there's some artifacts, and there's actually loss in like the audio where it's like, you
Right,
know, they have like what's it called? They have on like the Apple Music and shit, like the lossless audio and shit. That's it. So it's like it doesn't lose any of that quality. Whereas I think if me and you are running our joints and we're not exporting it at a certain bit rate or a certain,
hmm,
what is it, 44.1 or
yeah, yeah,
this and that. It's like all that. If we're not doing that properly, I think our shit can get bugged out. So like we have to send it a FLAC, like a FLAC file or like a wave.
wow,
Cause then our shit, when it does get sent to these guys, the quality is super crispy. And then we're not getting our stuff destroyed,
right,
our quality,
right, right. Because I like that earthy, like gritty. You know what I
Yes,
mean?
100%.
Where it's not so clean.
Yeah.
You know
Uh-huh.
what I mean? Because hip hop has never been clean. Them cold crush tapes,
Yeah.
you heard the
Facts.
hiss
Facts, my guy.
in that shit. You know what I mean? It
100%.
wasn't clean.
Mm-hmm.
You hear the train running in the background
Absolutely. It's
when they were
always been.
rocking. It wasn't
Yeah.
clean,
Mm-hmm.
but you felt the soul in that shit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so a lot of that mixing shit can take away from that,
Mm-hmm.
make
I
it too
agree. I
crispy.
agree.
You know what I
It's
mean?
it, yeah. The foundation is um
Uh,
to
and and I think that's why West Side Gun
yeah.
is winning. If you listen to some of his music, you're like, there's no
It's
way he mixed that shit.
yeah. No,
He keep the beat straight up as it is.
for sure, man. I think it's like it's about less is more now.
Yeah,
It's less is more
yeah,
stuff, and,
it's
and it's
less and
about the
more.
grittiness too, like you said. I
Right,
think there's a certain like a saturation and the sound that's kind of missing. There's a certain warmth that's missing in a lot
right,
of people's music.
right,
But I think sometimes leaving the dust and the
right,
grime on the record is a good thing.
right,
I think
right,
it's
right.
just it's
Right.
going
Like I
away.
said, you listen to Griselda, a lot of his stuff. I like the West Side Gun. I'm like, there's no way he mixed that beat was mixed. It was just I
Yeah,
play in
straight
the
up
car and it's like,
raw
oh,
vocals over it. Yeah,
it was just he just rhymed over it. And that's why I think that's why he's winning. It's like Rock
I
Moss,
agree.
that's why they winning. They just do them.
Yeah,
They
100%.
broke all rules.
Yeah, but same as Coachella, they were doing them, and I think
Right.
at the same time too, it's like they're also doing something too where they're just living in their environment they're living in, and they're seeing what they're seeing, and they're writing that down and then telling you
Right.
about it and showing you what they
Right.
see
Yeah.
and what they
Taking
feel.
the
So it's like
beats and just
absolutely, and
imagine
this
that.
what his formula is. West Side Gun's formula is exactly what his forefathers did.
Right.
Rakim and all these
Right.
people gave birth to that.
Right. You
KGR and
think
like
about
especially KGR, and I think
right.
KGR
All of
Wookie
that.
Rap does not
It
get
wasn't all
enough.
that. It wasn't all that slickness.
Yeah, yeah, man.
Woman,
Uh-huh.
wasn't all that. Oh, we got to tweak every snare and every kick. Yo, raw.
I remember like bumping Hell on Earth. One
Man,
of my homies, Infinities, and me. I remember he used to fuck with the EQs on. I think he had like some sort of Alpine joining or something. But like he used to tweak the motherfuckers and the snares. Havoc snares on Hell on Earth are so loud. They crack your chest plate when they.
right,
And there's something about it, and
right,
like, I guarantee you, like when I think it's Steve Sola who mixed that
right.
record. I may be mistaken, but like they must have had limiters on them shits like crazy, like just yeah. It's hard to believe it, but it was a choice he made. I don't care.
Right,
Like I
but
want
what
the
if he
shit to
didn't
sound
make
that way.
it? What if he didn't mix it?
Yeah. So
Would it,
exactly, it doesn't
the beat
matter.
still would it still will the beat would still be ill?
I think it's still ill. I think it's just still ill that it's like because it's what the artist intended.
Right,
That's
right.
my take on it.
So, do you think a record could still be ill without all that extra mixing and fluff?
Yes, Absolutely.
Straight out the beat machine, straight out
I think so. I
the
think so, man.
computer, straight out the keyboard, straight out the, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
man.
Whatever.
Yeah, like a good guy who's like someone who's good with that is like Camel Monk.
Oh yeah, oh yes.
Spanish Ren is the
Oh,
best
Spanish rain
example
still, yes.
because he's mixing, he's mastering, he's recording all of his own records.
Right.
That's special. And for me, like
Right.
I don't have that
But a dude
ability.
that's not doing that, just making the beats, just on some raw hip hop shit, do you think that can exist today
Yes.
without the machine?
Damn near. I think so. I think so, man.
Without the machine, he makes the beats, he gives it to the artist, he's not tweaking, he's not doing nothing.
Absolutely, especially with these loops, man. Especially with these loops, because when you're looping, I'm looping a record off. Let's say I'm looping something. I was listening to some Starpoint records, like some 80s shit,
Right,
and like some like Larry June type like loops or something like that.
right,
It's like I don't need to mix those.
right.
Those are mixed in the 80s on
Already.
Tascams
Right,
and like
right,
clean shit. So it's like you can hear that crispiness. I don't
right,
need it. So I
right.
literally can just send that to Larry June, send that to Jay Worthy, and he knocks that shit the fuck out, man. And it's because they have the dope ass mics, the Neumann mics, and all these other shits.
Wow.
They can fucking record it on a plane. You know what I mean? These
There's
guys can do
nothing.
anything.
There's nothing, right?
It's nothing, man. Yo, straight up. But so that's exactly. I believe you can. I believe you can go straight from a machine, damn near, and record.
Right. So what can we expect from you nowadays? Because we've been missing.
Yeah, me and Max Julian are working on something right now. Who's out of Chicago.
Okay.
So I got some stuff in the works with Water.
Water. True. Water.
Max Julian.
Chicago, right?
And say again?
From Chicago, right? Water from
Correct.
Chicago. Oh yeah.
You know it, man. Yeah. So I Am God, Water,
I
Max
am God.
Julian. We're cooking something there. So
Okay.
we just have some things in the works. And I sent out some joints to Supreme Cerebral. So we're gonna try to knock out some stuff and expect like a beat tape. Like I think that's gonna be something that I can easily take care of.
Well, let me ask you a question. You doing these projects, right? You still have to go to work every day. Is that?
Oh yeah.
Is that?
Oh, it can be daunting, man. But the thing is like I have weekends, which is good. And I forgot to mention, man, I'm working on Flora Turner 2 with Downtown Dawson, which I had like I had Uncle John on there. I had a bunch of dudes, man. Yeah, yo, Big Lordy, man.
Now, with that being said, you going to work. Some of these dudes that you work with don't have to go to work every day. They're making money off their music. Does that ever make you like? Does that discourage you?
I don't think so, man, because I think people just catch their break, man. People get on and do their thing. And it's like I think sometimes for the producer, they're not the front man. So like I think for me, I'm not the West Side Gun. I'm not that like front man character. So like I don't think I should ever be getting that like those numbers and things like that. I'm just working away. So like I don't. I guess my expectations are very low in the sense of.
Yeah. Because I spoke to one. If you ever watch my series, because now it's a series for my diggers. If you ever get a chance, and
of course, man.
He worked with an artist that was high and underground, and the artist gave him some vinyl. But it was like, wow, this artist made so much money, but he's ironing his shirt going to work on Monday. And I'm just wondering, do you feel a certain way about that? Like you're providing the soundtrack for these people's lives, and they're going on tour, they're making money doing this and that, and here you are going to work to a job.
Yeah, no, I think for some people it's kind of discouraging, man. But for myself, like I actually just started a new job, man. So like I have the potential to make huge money at it, and then of course that just fuels what I can do with the music, man. So to be honest, man, I'd rather have a stable job because to be honest, when these guys get off tour, it's not as glamorous, man. And I think that like some of these guys do make money. They're sending out parcels weekly, or they're sending out records to fans. But I don't think they're making 100,000 a year off of what they're doing. Maybe they are, and I hope they are.
Right.
But like I would say like I just went to the Fly Anakin show. It was Fly Anakin and Domo Genesis. Yeah. So
Right.
they were touring and but like Fly is she's like just getting started and like he was making good bread for sure. But like I would say in the off season when if he's not constantly touring, it's like he's got to be. That's the one thing about like these artists is like I think even the producers, these guys are going around to like producer showcasing, but these guys are like finger drumming, and I think there's like a whole other market for that shit. I think that's what you have to do now. I think to stay relevant is like to be constantly showcasing your music somewhere. Like Theravada's a good dude like that, man. He does like beat sets,
right?
You know, all the time, man, at different venues in New York.
Wow.
Just showing his sound off to different people. You know, I mean, I think that's for me. It's like I'm going to be doing a little bit of like a DJ set at this spot downtown. So like, I have all these opportunities just to kind of get my sound out there. I'm going to another show in May at this record store. So I'm just getting, I'm right now, I'm just like in my city, getting people seeing my face, you know? So.
Got you. Cause yeah, you've been missing for a minute, man.
Facts, man. Facts, my guy.
You've been gone for a minute. Like I was like, Kurse. I'm like, I remember Kurse.
I'm back though, baby.
I remember Kurse, I told my man, he's like, oh, I remember Kurse. I ain't heard from him in a minute. And I was like, yeah, I remember Kurse. Kurse was killing shit back in the era and whatnot. But I want to thank you for taking the time out to talk to me.
Man.
You know, now you get to see my face because before we was on the phone.
On the phone, man.
We was on the phone.
Yeah, on the jack, man.
So now you get to see my face and things like that. And let's stay in touch. You know what I mean? Let's keep things rolling or whatever, man. And yeah, man, it's great to hear from you. I'm great to hear you back. I want to hear great things from you, man, because you was fire. Ooh,
likewise, man. Man, let's get it, man.
Woo,
let's get it, bro.
It was fire, yo. That whole Lord of Flood and Supreme, that shit was fire.
I'm back on it, man.
You still getting checks from that, right?
Oh, absolutely, man. Absolutely, man. Oh yeah.
Yeah, man. So anyway, salute to you, my brother. Peace.
Salute, brother.
Peace.
Thank you, man.
During the local flora, fauna, flowers till it blooms. You talk about the jungle blowing smoke over the wombs. Glancing at the water, the reflection of the canoe turns your brain to silly putty. Seen you running from the ruins, groom the strange bouquet. Valley of the roots today, rusty tools and jamble juice and vernacular souffle. Can it be throwing sand in the bags to secure a biome? Mostly a dawn task when you're wrong end of a rhino. Hand me the hammer, head full of visions. Fish from the river, voices of religion. On the scene with the torches stenciled after dark with dogs and wizards. One can tell why they might as well be dark gods and gothic figures. Some roster stare into the spirit realm, spellbound, geared with one machete, yelling back from the hell mouth. Take a